Welcome to another episode of On the King's Dime. It is Monday, the 7th of January, the new year. It's just a couple of hours before the Taipans game. We thought we'd bring you a quick wrap-up of the Illawarra game before this Taipans game, though, and we are live, of course, on Facebook, so come and check us out. We're also going out on YouTube and iTunes and on Podcast Addict, so you can find us there as well.
And Mellow Man and all these other podcasting apps. There's so many now. Just so
whatever
many. Just RSS feed. Yep.
Yeah, captures. Anything else to plug? Have we got anything else going on?
No, Aussies Taking over the NBA.
Yeah.
Always got to plug that. That's our premiere podcast. Have a look at that. It's chronicling all the Aussies in the NBA, plus some interesting stuff going on there. And we do that quite regularly as well. So if you're into the NBA, check it out.
Yes. Feel free to comment and subscribe and like and leave a comment below here. And, down there.
Down there.
Do stuff like that. So obviously the Kings playing Illawarra in Illawarra, a 78-71 loss in front of an absolutely bumper crowd of 4,090 people.
But that's good.
No, it's good.
It's a sellout, I think.
Yeah, they were going on about how great it was. It was a sellout on the telecast. And then they said it was 4,090 people, and I was like, "Wow, really?" Like the atmosphere actually was pretty good for that few people.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in like a small auditorium style center.
Yeah, very intimate. And
I like that. Intimate.
Yeah, it was a very intimate, but they were going off. I mean,
of course, every quarter, some Wollongong player was dropping ridiculous shots.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, they had a roll. But anyway, we'll get into all of that.
So we've got the Cairns game tonight. I think that's at 7:50. So in a couple of hours, we'll bring you that later in the week. So it was a loss. It was not a good game from both teams, I don't think.
It wasn't a good game. It was a very slow game. We never looked like actually winning that game. I don't think we... It always looked like Wollongong were going to win that game. We just kept falling behind. Things weren't happening. A lot to talk about in the offense. I think we reverted back to some weird things this game.
Yeah.
But Randall wasn't really heating up. They were closing the lanes properly. I think Bogut was not posting up enough. They were back. It was just very crowded. Beyond the arc, and
some strange lineups too.
Yeah,
they were running a few different sort of weird lineup combinations. A lot of Kyle Adnam after he'd been playing really well, and he did a few good things in this game. But then once you sort of change the rotation to take Lish out, it becomes a little bit different. Like we sort of struggle to score. And I mean, you've gone on about it before where if our defense is all right, then we're playing all right. But then when the offense falls off a cliff, it's like it really just goes like down the gurgler really badly. And I think that's kind of what happened in this game.
But it doesn't seem like they've really got a go-to person to do anything.
Yeah.
I think that teams have woken up to Randall, just close down the lanes, play very deep defense. He will take 3-point shots, but he's not going to do a lot of that. He's not a high-volume 3-point shooter.
No. He sort of can't create his own shot sometimes. He likes to come off a screen. And I mean, if we're moving the ball around, that's when we're sort of, we try to get back into our sets and we try to make things happen. But I don't think he was handling the ball that well. How many turnovers did he have? He had 2 turnovers, but it felt like every time he tried to dribble the ball, they were all over him. Illawarra loved the full court press as well, which is an absolute pain in the backside.
Oh, that is just turd.
A few times we passed out of it in the first half, like really quickly, and we got a bucket down the other end, an easy bucket. And they kind of went back away from it again. The referees were a bit ordinary in this game. We'll go on.
Ordinary is an understatement.
It was Rob Beveridge's 300th game, though, so I feel like that maybe gave him a bit of momentum.
I think a full crowd as well in Wollongong. It's a bit of a stronghold. They've been playing relatively well. They've been winning games that we're like, ooh, that's a bit strange. But the competition actually is getting closer.
Yeah, it's like compacting.
It's compacting. There's becoming a bit of a log jam full of teams. Obviously, we're two games back from Perth at their 19 games deep. They're the highest, and then Taipans are 1 game back from that as well. So after this game, it'll all be kind of even up. But only a 20% differential between first and seventh. So a lot of games can determine, top 4 very quickly. We could fall out very quickly.
Yeah.
Or we could, get a bit of a lead on. But, Illawarra 8 wins, Sydney 11 wins. So there's not a lot of room for error.
Yeah, that's
forth.
When you look at it like that, And they're second last.
Yeah.
So that's pretty close.
It means that this game tonight is one of the most important games of the season thus far. Because if we do not get the win tonight,
yeah, that's when you sort of feel like the wheels may start falling off a little bit.
Yeah, you think that, well, the offense... I mean, all I can say is thank Jesus for Bogut. Man, he's a stats machine. Defense, changing shots, getting into the paint, running the offense.
So we'll get into the first quarter. Obviously, at the start of that game, did you feel like Illawarra were going inside and then just, back it out, boys, back it out? Like a few times, I think 3 or 4 times they went to go inside. Yeah. And they just basically, Bogut's there, back it out, boys, let's start again. They hit. I think Anderson was the only one.
Looked really good. Some nice... You know what the funny thing is? Anderson's only a centimetre shorter than Bogut.
And he looked like he had a nice array of, I'm not scared, I'm going to pull my moves on you and try them anyway, which I think got them off to that start.
Some nice fading jumpers early on, which got that real offense flow. Jordan Jet looked like he was getting into spaces that were annoying people, not necessarily scoring, but changing the way our defense kind of structures, and allowing the kind of handoffs to guys like Ogilvy and Conklin as well.
He's a big unit though, and that's where I think
it's that Chubb play.
Yeah, it gets in the way of our guys are kind of just normal sized guards or smaller type guards. If he's sort of getting up in your face, it's where I think it kind of put Randall off a little bit. Yeah, some important phone calls.
No. Sorry, no.
Just screened. Straight to voicemail.
That's it.
Nothing stops here on the Kings time, mate. We give you all Kings all the time. So I felt he got in the passing lanes a little bit. We were pushing us out of our offense a little bit. The Hawks obviously shot 4 from 15 in the first quarter from 2. That's pretty poor. And then we shot 5 from 13, so slightly better. It just felt like we couldn't get anything going at all.
In 10 minutes of basketball, that is a horribly low efficiency.
It's pretty poor.
I think what we have to do, a team like Wollongong is probably not got the motor of Sydney. Like, we've got some younger guys. It doesn't suit kicker, but you play some faster flow. It's really just Newley in transition, and he couldn't get into transition this game. I felt he was shut down in the half court. Some silly turnovers, stopped that. But I think that, Wollongong were moving the ball well. Emmett Nah moves the ball very well. Can't shoot to save his life.
Nah.
But that doesn't really matter. He doesn't turn the ball over either. So,
and then that second unit, I think, of Conrad coming off the bench. And then Conklin, Anderson was getting into Bogut's body and trying to score through Bogut. Like, you don't see that. You obviously see the smaller guys go up to Bogut and then maybe think twice about trying to score. He alters shots. But when, I think it was Beveridge was saying in one of the timeouts, you just don't be afraid to go at him and just try it. And then Anderson tried a couple of times. And then Conrad off the bench started hitting a couple of shots. And then Conklin came out and you saw, no fear, I'm just going to try and, really get my shoulder down into him low and then try and shoot some floaters in the lane. I mean, they didn't have anyone where, if you sort of, if you root Bogut into the paint, you can have a guy just come off him and shoot jumpers from their elbow. Yeah. That's kind of the strategy you go to. But we saw something different from Illawarra where they just kind of went, let's get our bigger guys. We'll go into his body. And then, we'll try and get him one-on-one, go into his body, and then we'll shoot fades. Or we'll give it up to somebody in the lane that, can try and shoot a floater over the top. They don't really have any lob threat or anything like that. And that's where Emmett Nah and Greeter and guys like that can kind of work around that, and they can give the guys the ball in the right spaces. It was a poor first quarter. I think it was 17-15.
It was a poor first half.
And the second quarter, obviously, we had 11 points. 26 points at halftime. I think that's one of the lowest scores that we've had in a while.
It's like watching us, who are Muppets, run around on a Monday night playing 20-minute halves of basketball.
It's not that bad.
It's that bad. It was almost that bad. Come on. Play it with me.
It was bad. So like you said, when our defense is good, and when it's good, it's fueling our offense. But when it's in a hole and we can't get anything going, that's when it just goes just bad, and we really struggle to get anything going. I'm not sure who you can kind of go to in that situation. Randall really struggled, and then obviously Kevin Lish kind of struggled. It was really mainly Kickett and then Adnam off the bench to start with, and then Bowen got a couple of things going, but it just sort of ground to a halt. And that's always been the fear all season. We've been sort of saying it. Like the fear is it all just collapses in on itself.
I just saw that in the first half, they were just running the offense through Bogut at the elbow, but it just crowded the arc. You know, there wasn't even time to weave. They could shut down and collapse the lanes very quickly, so you couldn't actually penetrate. You needed Bogut to get into the spaces deep down, back down, and use him as a dish point. But at the line, when they're just going to all stand around in a they always look like stunned mullets. Sometimes just go pass. Oh yeah, pass. It was pointless. Bogut needed to back down, be that more physical center. That's where I think we struggled offensively in the first half, was that spacing. It just was very cramped.
Yeah. And that's just how we play. I mean, you can't really, if Randall's not getting anything going, that's where that style seems to just collapse into everyone else can't get anything going. And then David Ware as well, he can't get anything going. Like he can't put the ball on the floor. He can't shoot in the post. He can't make anything happen for anyone else. It's really only Bogut that can do that, and then Randall that can do that. And if they're not doing it, then who have you got to go to? You kind of got Lish, but Lish is not someone who's going to just try and create his own shot all night. Like, I'm the go-to offense, guys. I'm just going to do everything.
It's usually Randall, but Randall just got shut down very quickly.
Yeah, and he had a few turnovers, a couple of turnovers where they were just bad handles.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel if his handle starts to disappear, he gets a bit, I don't want to try anything silly anymore because I've gotten in my own head. I've lost the ball a couple of times. And then his sort of game collapsed a little bit. It took us till 7 minutes and 20 left in the quarter just to get our first points. Bowen free throws, that was. In that time, Illawarra pushed the score to 28-15, including a timeout after those two Conrad threes. That kind of felt like, and they kicked us in the guts. Our next points didn't come till 4 minutes 31 in the quarter. So I think we had 4 points in over 5 minutes. And that's just awful. And it was a Bogut hook shot.
Yeah. I think Bogut tried to almost hook a ball from the 3-point line in the fourth.
From the elbow. It was like a running lefty, like over the top style, Kareem style.
It's kind of like, it feels like that when the offense breaks down, everyone just passes the buck. Oh yeah, you do something. Yeah, you do something. Instead of all right, Randall, just create some magic. Or take it out of the lane, take the guys across and play in behind. There was no back cutting. Back cutting.
And I think that's a testament to kind of the way Illawarra played too, because they were right up in our faces all the time. Like usually if you allow Bogut to sort of stand at the elbow and dictate, he's going to find open guys. And he did a couple of times. I think
he did. He got some good assists.
But he had 5 assists. And I think one of them was a good one to Newley where he runs back door, hits the layup and misses the free throw, of course, in Newley fashion.
The old alligator.
But like Illawarra, I don't know, is it the 2-3 zone that they go to? Like they had some success with against us before.
I think the 2-3 zone works. I just think that collapsing the lanes, even when you're man on, they seem to know how to switch properly and collapse the lane. Because Kickett's not going to drive the basket. He's going to back down. It's very slow. They have a lot of time without cutting players and tall cutting players. It's all well and good if Randall cuts, but how are you going to send it over a player? It's very hard. You have to send it around or underneath, and they're low percentage passes. So we have to get high percentage players in like Deng Deng or Brian Bowen to baseline cut more. And it just doesn't seem to be able to do that. It just seems to be, all right, we're going to stay high and wait for something at the elbow, and then that doesn't eventuate. And what's next? We'll just go to Lish. Take the ball and try and shoot.
Or Randall, try and cook someone off the dribble and get something going. And he couldn't really get anything going. And then Newley was a bit passive in the first half too. Like he couldn't get anything going. And I find that lately, you can't just give him the ball and have him try and create going to the hoop. Get out of his way and let him create.
He's really only good at half-court
to do that. Yeah, it's a bit strange. Because at the start of the season, he was getting to the rim. Like in a couple of those home games, like the New Zealand game, like he was taking it on himself for us to, flood the weak side, and he would just go to work, get to the basket by someone. But we couldn't really get any of that happening. It was just the first half that was just awful. I think 36 points. Oh, was it 26 points in the first half? 36-26 for first half. That's got to be one of the lowest in the league, I reckon.
Like I said, Muppets running around on a Monday night. More entertaining.
So I listened to the post match with Gaze, and he was talking about one of the questions that was asked was they went to the video a few times, like, well, does that ruin your momentum and stuff like that? And they went to the video. I don't remember what it was for, but it was when Kickett was fouled by Conrad. And then it took like 2 minutes, and Kickett's standing there at the line, and everyone's waiting, and we're just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, why are we going to the monitor? They go to the monitor, and it's nothing. Okay, just shoot the free throws. And he missed both free throws. But I'm sitting there thinking, why are we going to the monitor? Like, there's not, like, what?
I think these refs, and I was saying this before the podcast, I think these refs are so worried that they're going to get a non-defensive call wrong.
Yeah, something
it
wrong.
Seems like this. It seems like, all right, if it seems to be a lot of bodies in the mix and nothing gets called. Yet when I think it was the first quarter, I think it was it was Randall, and getting out of half court, guy steps in, takes the charge. White steps in, takes the charge.
Yeah.
He was moving.
Yeah, he was moving.
He was
and
moving.
I just went, that's a blocking foul, and they're like. On the commentary, they're like, that's a great charge. He's come out and taken that charge.
It's not a charge. It's a blocking.
Charge?
It's a blocking foul. You're moving your legs.
Yeah.
You can't. You shouldn't be able to take a charge in your.
If you're backpedaling in your own, and you shouldn't be able to take a charge in your own half.
No.
Like in your attacking half, there should be no charges in your own half. NBL rule. You can't take any charges in your own half because it's horrible.
It's not even horrible. Okay, I understand the full court press. I understand that is, to put pressure on the defense. But there's no charges. If I'm trying to get out of my half with 8 seconds, there's no charges. Yeah. You have to get out of my... It seems like the NBA has gone to a free-flowing aspect where they give credit to the offensive player. We're just like, oh, no, it's defense.
Yeah,
defense is always right. Oh, look, you've moved into him... He's still moving, but we're going to give you that charge.
Yeah. So, but they're tough plays to call, and I can understand that. But like it's sometimes you can go, okay, fair enough. And in Illawarra's building, you sort of go, okay, it gives them a little bit of momentum. There were a few plays in the first half where, that's going to give them some momentum. Like these things are happening, some dodgy calls, like that charge, and then there was another call sort of later in the half. I think. It was either Conrad, I think he got a 3 and shot a 3 and made it and got the free throw as well. Like these things that got the crowd going. But yeah, just the refereeing, I've said it before a bunch of times, like the game is just getting too good now and the referees just aren't good enough. And if you miss a bunch of calls, you need to be held accountable. I'm not saying after the game you get a grading and if you don't do well, you get dropped or something, but you need to sort of have a higher thinking for this type of game, and I think the game has gotten a lot better. And you just can't get away with missing calls, blowing calls.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot more tactical. A lot of guys are post moving to draw the foul, but they don't get picked up, and then it just seems to be like a clash of bodies. And that's one of the rules of obviously kind of the camping rule, where the number 5 can sit in FIBA rules, can just sit in the paint and just have his way all day,
which I love.
Yeah, it's great for us.
It's great.
It's great for us. It just sees guys brick up threes, but
it creates a lot of incidental contact, though.
It does create a lot of incidental contact. A lot of guys trying to crash the board hard, and then nothing comes out of it. And you're like, oh, a lot of off-ball fouls as well.
Yeah,
just like, oh yeah, he touched him, and And we have to go to the final worst foul of the day, which was Jordan Jett's flop. It would have been flop. He fell over, and Kevin Lish went to grab the ball. Oh no, that's a foul. What?
You're getting ahead of yourself. So we've got a couple more things to discuss.
That was just on my memory train.
It's all right. We'll get back to that. So at halftime, I kind of felt, well, Illawarra's only got 36 points. We've got 26. I mean, we've got a flurry in us. We've always got a flurry of about 20 points in us.
There's a flurry, but I just didn't think Sydney had that game at all. It just didn't look cohesive. And I think, obviously, Travis Ware, I've been watching the Aussies play cricket, which has also been terrible.
Equally poor.
Poor. Travis Ware has obviously gone back to the US playing for South Bay Lakers, and David Ware's been let out of Andrew Gaz's basement, and we obviously have seen the fruitful labour of that.
0 or 5 on threes. Usually you knock down 1 or 2 threes.
He had a couple of open ones where he didn't hit them. You're like,
Yeah, a couple of times. We had a couple early in the second half where you went, knock it down. Oh.
It's even when Adnams drived in, kicked, and then slipped back out to the thing and then not knocked it down. It's like, come on.
We need to knock those down, guys. So second half we came out, we made our run, and that was where you thought, like, it can't get any worse. We've got to at least make a run in the third quarter. It was 26-24 eventually. So we won that quarter. It was a 2-point game with 5 minutes to go. So we had a 14-6 quarter before they got back into it, and that's where, like, I think we tied the game up, or we were made the lead, one only for Illawarra, and then like it all just kind of like the momentum got back with Illawarra, and they kind of, got back into the game, and the arena sort of got them back into it. A few dodgy ref calls here and there got them going.
Slightly dodgy, but that's fair enough.
They were 4 of 10 from 2, but they shot 3 of 4 from 3. We were 6 of 9 and shot 2 of 3 from 3. So I think we had the better quarter. It was just sort of towards the the back end of the half, the back end of the quarter is where we kind of let it slip. Like we really had to like knock them on the head and go ahead by maybe 5 or 6 to be able to kind of hold them off and strangle them. But we obviously didn't do that. We played some strange sort of lineups. Out of the half, obviously we went back to that Bogut, Randall, Newley, Ware, Lish. And then like we were bringing Randall in, we were bringing Adnam in, and then Ware for kick it, and then we're running Adnam, Randall, Newley, kick it, Bogut, and it was like it's just a bit all over the place.
If you play kick it, Bogut, you can't kick it. Can't play in the paint.
Nah.
One thing I've seen is you really have to play a 4-1, one in the paint, 4 on the arc. If you bring kick it in, it just crowds the space. There is no way to get to the rim unless he backs down a little hook, Bogut, little hook.
Yeah.
And it's too easy to kind of guard the kick out or the pass out, and it just looks jank. And then, our office looked jank.
And then if you get like essentially you've got to get Bogut out of the paint. Like if Kickett's going to go in and work,
you've got to draw Bogut out. He's got no elbow. Yeah,
and both of them are a bit slow and older, and they can't you can't run a dynamic 5 with the 4 coming into the lane because the 5 has to get out of there. But you can't run a dynamic 4 getting into the lane because the 5 has got to get out of there. And then you're like, what's Bogut doing there anyway? There's nothing, like you can't make anything happen.
I would like to have seen a small ball 5, Bowen at the 5, Deng Deng at the 4, and fast against this.
Yeah, we'll be. I think hopefully we play him again once more. It'll be interesting to see how we do against them.
Yeah, because you've got to play fast-paced basketball. I think the slow pace just plays into the chub of Illawarra. Jordan Jett, Ogilvy. These guys are chub players. Like they like getting in the lane and just bodying you out. I think you need to play beyond that and quicker than that. And Bowen at the 5. Crashing the glass, spreading the floor, shooting.
Bowen playing center.
Bowen like 6'8".
That'd be interesting.
Just playing a small ball, quick 5 as your backup. I'm not saying start off with that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying as your backup rotation. Obviously, Pinot.
Yeah, Pinot. No.
Look,
he got scored on a couple of times badly too.
He did
in that run that they made, bringing the game back. Sort of like holding us off from bringing the game back.
The problem is when you bring Pinot on, your offensive rating goes from, if you're having a bad night, your offensive rating goes for
through the floor.
It goes from crap to turd. It's just that really drop off because I haven't seen an offense from.
Nah, I mean he does some good stuff off the ball. So we
a lot of off the ball stuff he does well. He screens well, hustles well. He's a good hustle guy, but when you can't create your own shot. When you haven't got guys that are just like, give me the ball, I'm going to take it for 2 minutes. Randall was like that, but he was very tame this game.
Yeah, I felt like he was a bit... He
was a bit tame, maybe passive, he was a bit off. And you've really got no scoring options. You've got nothing generating.
And Gaze did say in the post-match that maybe he should have switched the lineup a little bit, brought Deng Deng in a little bit, but he said that he always felt like we were just near like bringing it back, and so
I don't know. He saw a different game. I saw we would get up there, but it just looked like Wollongong's just Illawarra obviously. Illawarra's just going through a little bit of a slump. They'll head back, and they did. Yeah, they hit back up. They got their guys in the lane. We shut down. We've always got that bad run in us. 6 minutes of not scoring. That was some tough basketball to watch.
In that second. But this quarter was not too bad. So with the game at 53-45 and the lead at 8, so we had Randall, Lish, and we brought Panau. We subbed Randall for Lish, and we brought Panau in, and that's when they scored on Panau a couple of times. Bowen made a pretty good 3. I think he yanked Panau, almost pretty quickly.
You got to say Panau, buddy.
No.
Panau, no.
And then obviously Ogilvy made that layup. and then the second referent comes in. He comes in and just off the ball, like took a step and shouldered Adnan, like threw the shoulder into Adnan.
That's a flagrant.
Well, if at the very least it's an unsportsmanlike foul. Like I can understand, like I was explaining it to you before we started, like if he was just standing there, took the charge, and then went, hey, I took I took the contact.
Yeah.
But he stood there, like staunched up, and then took a step across. Like he actually leant into him, and you've got to call that. If they had said, obviously we'll go through the last unsportsmanlike. If they had said that was unsportsmanlike, I don't know how the free throws go, whether you get an extra free throw or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought just because it was away from the ball, you get 2 shots in the ball. Maybe they thought that was enough, but you then can't call that unsportsmanlike later because you're like, hang on, these two things don't match up. Like you can't not call one here and then call one later. Like for me, the one later they should have let go because they didn't call that one. If that's the case,
and that was even worse. That was just an attempted block. I mean, he was going for the ball.
But what did you think about that foul? Like I thought
he dropped the shoulder quite clearly to see. He dropped the shoulder as if it was a Sonny Bill charge
and moved towards
him, and you took him out. If that's not a flagrant, then or whatever it is, unsportsmanlike. I hate that unsportsmanlike rule. So stupid. It's a flagrant. Call it what it is.
So obviously it gave them a little bit of momentum to the Illawarra team. Because then Kyle Adam gets a tech for his reaction, which I thought was pretty tame.
It gave him a little push.
Given the foul, I could understand if he had to run into him, it was incidental contact, and then he squared up.
But you have to remember as well, these refs don't call anything on Kyle Adnam. So he's like, I'm showing my frustration by doing this because he doesn't know if he's getting a call for that or what.
Yeah.
If that was me, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm getting this call.
Blow up for sure.
Blow up for sure because that's going to diffuse the situation, allow the refs to look at it and go, oh yeah, it is a foul. Definitely a unsportsmanlike in my opinion. There was no ball contact. It was dropping the shoulder and leaning into him and using his mass to do it.
Yeah, which I thought was poor because like there's so many different. You're not like it's all right. Someone's calling me. You sort of change, like there's things that don't match up in that play, right? Like Adnam's reaction, obviously I can understand if it was just incidental contact, if he sort of says, if he reacts like that through incidental contact, I can understand the refs going, okay, I'll give you a technical, but he dropped the shoulder into him, so he reacted like I've been hit with a hostile act, I'm going to react like that because that's rubbish sort of thing. So you've got to take 3 things into account, yet they just, I was wave everything off, no worries, we'll give you a tech for that. I just thought that was poor, man, because I didn't think his reaction was that bad. Like, he had thrown a shoulder, there was a melee, or he had a swung, gave him like some it's high shoving.
He's shoving against a guy who's 6'9", 6'10", he's 6'1".
And like, even Ogilvy tried to do the, I didn't do anything, I didn't do a thing. You're like, come on, mate, like far out. There's no need for that, and it kind of got them going. So they hit. So we went to the line. I didn't feel like they should have got that tech free throw. They hit it. I think it was 56-50 when they hit that, and then they obviously had that big Rita 3 right at the end to make the lead 8. Yeah, which was a bit of a kick in the teeth. That was, I think, that was the jump ball. So there was a jump ball there, and they got that. So in the fourth quarter, we shot 2 from 8, which was 25%. That's pretty poor. 3 of 8 from 3. That was all Kevin Lish. He got hot, and then we went away from him. Yeah,
like
he got hot.
Yeah, and they're like, we'll just go through run the offense through other people now. So no, get him open.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I don't know if that was bad coaching or whether that was just in the frantic helter skelter of the end of that quarter. Like Randall took a couple of shots where it's like, mate, Kevin Lish has just hit 2 big threes to make this a 1-point game. Like you got to go back to Kevin Lish here. So he bricked a couple. Conklin pushed it to 7, and then it was pretty much all she wrote. It was just a foul-a-thon. No. It was Lish made the 3 to make it a 2-point game with 1 minute left on the clock. Sorry, yeah. And then he made some free throws, and it was a 1-point game with 41 seconds left on the clock. Then dodgy. I don't understand how that was a unsportsmanlike. I don't get it.
I don't understand how it was unsportsmanlike. You're going for a block, you get hit, 2 at the line. You don't get the ball back though.
And he made so much of that too. Like he made the biggest meal out of that as well. So mate, like what are you doing? And it's a tight game. He's trying to get something from the referees. I just thought, like the way you diffuse the other situation, you can't then go and say, well, we're just changing the way we're reffing the game by giving this unsportsmanlike. Like I can understand if they gave him sensible punishment, no tech for Adnam, I could then go, okay, fair enough, unsportsmanlike. That was a bit much. That was a bit much. That was a bit much. No worries. But you can't change that call and then give that unsportsmanlike.
Just
like,
inconsistency.
especially at that time of the game, 41 seconds left. Like it's a tight game.
Yeah.
That's why I thought, man, is this a bit of a stitch up? Like if the refs weren't terrible, you'd think, man, that felt like a bit of a stitch up. Like why are you calling? Like how have you blown those two calls? Like it doesn't sort of make sense. I think it was Conklin that had the foul. He hit both free throws. He's not a good free throw shooter too.
No, and he hit
both of them. But he had a pretty good game. Like I like stepping back from that game.
They played well. Like Wollongong, Illawarra played. I keep calling him Wollongong. Illawarra played well. Conrad played well. He shot well. 3 from 4 from 3.
Jordan Jet ended up fouling out. I thought he played all right as well.
He just got his body in the right positions. Like that was, didn't score a lot, but rebounded pretty well. A couple of dishes. A steal.
Cedric Jackson, didn't have the best game.
No.
And then Anderson, I think the way they started.
He started well and then was kind of pulled when he was a bit tired and a bit slow and it was a bit quicker. But played well.
But I thought they did well. So full credit to them and for Rob Beveridge because he's a stalwart of the game as well. So, fair enough. Obviously, we had a bit of a rant about the refs, and that's fair enough. I think it's justified.
Oh, look, I think even without the refs, we wouldn't have won the game. But just like some of the calls, just like, why? Are we not watching the same piece of footage?
What's going on here? I mean, they even had, they were at halftime, and they had Shane Heal and the presenter standing there, and the refs looked like they were trying to get past them down the tunnel, and they're walking up to them and kind of going like, oh, can I get it? I can't get it. And they're like right in the back of the shot, like just looking like gormless idiots. Just going, to add insult to injury. A poor game. Any other stats that we need to go through?
Not really.
Stats?
We can say, we can go through Bogut's stats for the game, as they always are ridiculous. So Bogut had 8 points in the night, 19 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks.
Jesus. 4 blocks. And even Shane Hill was like, nah, I had 2 more extra blocks that they haven't put down on the stat sheet as well. Yeah. He was like, I'm sure he blocked 2 other shots as well or got steals or something like that. Those 4 blocks were the only blocks in the game. 19 assists wasn't too bad for Illawarra. We had 15. They didn't crash the boards as much as...
No, it was even. It was 8 offensive apiece.
It felt different, Did it feel unusual that we didn't see the normal strategies applied in this game?
Yeah, it did.
They just felt like they found something different. It's like, I haven't seen that. Like usually that guy comes to the elbow and he starts hitting shots. That gets them going. They start making shots, or they crash the glass and they hammer us on the glass. So it was interesting. I think there'll definitely be some film for the Kings to kind of look at and go, that's interesting. They've done some different stuff here.
But I also think Illawarra is the only team that plays like they do. I just think they have that real chub lineup.
Jordan Jet and Anderson and then Ogilvie. There are some good bigs in the league, but I think combine that with Jordan Jet's physical ability, I think was a big factor in this game as well.
That's the wrap of the game. Should we go on to the Taipans?
Yeah. Man, have we done any research?
I have, and
nice.
We will be very much looking out for Devon Hall, who had an absolute blinder.
Yeah.
In his last game. This kid was drafted by OKC deep into the second round. Handed off to the Kings as a bit of draft and stash. Had a breakout game, 24 points, 80% from the field, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, and a plus 26 on the night.
Oof.
This is the first game he's shown potentially why he was drafted by OKC, and that is scary. Melo Trimble had an okay game, and Nate Jawai, Big Nate, 18 points.
I feel like Bogut kind of
One rebound.
Wow. I feel like Bogut kind of owns him in that matchup.
He does own him, but
Rob Lowe is just... Oof.
He's terrible. He does own him in the matchup, but if Nate Jawai was smart and just played body game and let the faster guards and the shooters get to their pot and just not let Bogut, box Bogut out, use the body... back him down, kick out. It'd be very hard for us to play that style of basketball.
Yep.
Because their guards are very fast. And they're fast 1 to 3. DJ Newbill's very fast. Mello Trimble's obviously just as fast as Randall. It's like a Randall clone. The same as Casper Ware. They're just like the same guy.
Yeah. All three of them are like the same guy. Yeah,
the same guy.
We missed a lot of free throws in this game. That Illawarra game too.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Kicker not sinking those two was terrible.
It ended up being 31 free throws, and there was a lot of fouling in that game too.
Yeah.
Sorry to take us back to
Take
that
us
game.
back.
But the Taipans, I don't think they have the weapons.
I don't think they have the bench weapons.
The collective amount of weapons. Like, it just doesn't have the meat to really beat a team that's playing. If we play at a high level, obviously at our high level, I don't think they have the weapons.
They
to do
took
that.
Brisbane to town.
Yeah, I know.
They took Brisbane to town, and I think their shooting on the night was ridiculously high. They shot at 60%. If you shoot at 60% in any game, you're going to win. Really,
for sure. Yeah, if you lose, you're hard done by. It's a good game if you're losing and you're shooting 60%.
Yeah.
Or second night of a kind of back-to-back double round, that might play into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit tired. Obviously, we're not traveling too far coming from Illawarra. Guys would have probably slept in their own beds to play in Illawarra on Saturday afternoon. Or was it Saturday afternoon. So maybe that might play into it a little bit.
Might do.
Our guys haven't had time to recover. I think that's their only game for this round.
And the Brisbane Bullets to have 2 players foul out of that game.
Yeah, there's been a few fouling out of these games.
Yeah.
It's
some
really
very
sort
soft calls. Some very soft calls.
Very
soft.
So that was at the start of this round, this game, the third, yeah. So, I hope we can, like, after we've lost this Illawarra game,
I thought that this was going to be like a nice, clear 2-game streak.
Just whack.
Whack, get them out, get them back at the big boys, but not to be.
Nah,
and now I'm stressing pants about this game.
Surely not stressing pants. I mean, didn't Melbourne and Perth lose, so we're still at the top of the ladder anyway?
We still are top of the ladder, but it seems to be a bit of a free-fall at the moment, and we are only 3 games in front of Illawarra, who are 7th.
Yeah, so we need to pick up maybe 3 or 4 more wins, comfortable wins to cement that spot.
Yeah, and the Breakers are in form. Sean Long's playing well.
Yeah, I think we're playing the Breakers after this too on Friday. So that'll be an interesting game. We'll bring you some preview of that. We'll actually try and do some research on that game.
Yeah.
Before, like when we record the Taipans wrap up. All right.
Cool.
That's about it,
well,
I think.
Have
Full
fun.
credit to Bev and his 300th night. They got the job done.
They did, and they seem to be creeping up that ladder, even though they're 7th. Wins getting up there. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yes. Thanks for watching. If you watched on the stream too.
Yeah, if you want to listen later, you can find us on YouTube and any good podcast app. Go Kings tonight, and I'll be watching the game, and hopefully we get the W.
Yes. All right. Peace out, people.
See ya.